Instead of making the ship faster, how about installing some seatbelts?
Seatbelts are dead weight. I feel the need for speed.
Yes, but I feel the nafety for safety.
Oh, fuff.
Another day at the shop. Let's get started. All right, so we're putting in these rear supports, and there's a hole here and a hole here that everything would want to tab into. And the way this works, they've got the tabs, the way these want to orient, at the top of the tube. Now, I have already removed the tab from the top of this tube to try to give us some additional space to work. However, if we try to put this into the location specified, we're physically in contact with our tire carrier here. We need that not to be the case. So what we want to do is raise this up so that we're sitting with where we would be if the tabs were on the bottom of the tube rather than the top of the tube. It's 1.5 inch and 3/4 DOM. So that means we're raising this effectively, an 1 3/4 inch or whatever, to the other side of the tab. That does mean the tabs have to come off, and then we position this up and down very carefully to get it where it needs to be. The advantage, of course, is that we just have to kind of work this into place. But yeah, these have to be a little bit higher up in order to clear our tire carrier here. Since we're not dealing with anything that's trying to go into a node, relocating this is not a big deal.
Actually, it's got one impact. The harness bar attaches to that.
We'll have to figure out, the harness bar will probably need to go where it belongs.
I agree.
Which means it will now be out of alignment with these.
Yep, I agree. And here is what it looks like tacked in. I won't call it finished, but tacked in. I don't know that I'm ever going to be able to get this tire carrier out, but that's okay. I love it. This is an awesome tire carrier. It's done a ton to improve Penny's balance, and I'm keeping it. So if it stays in permanently, I have no problem with that.
Okay, so we think we're low on my side. Now, check it for comparison. So you see it's right at the line here.
Mm-hmm.
And we are right at the line there. So it's the same across the tub as across the tube. So we have this bar here that is intended to go in a position approximately like that. However, we've moved this bar up, therefore this doesn't fit in the notch where it was supposed to go originally. If we just put this where it is, the bar that goes here and across to the other side will no longer line up with these tubes. So it's either recut and realign all of that stuff, or we have to bring this down so that the bar will be closer to its original position. To make that happen, we're having to recoat the material here with a grinder so that it will do a better job of matching up with this tube. And it looks like I actually cut it just a little bit too far because we want it to line up right about there. So we'll tack that into place with its slight adjustment. We're going to have a little bit of fill to need to do on the front portion of this tube.
Yeah, we could have just cut those down, but the bottom bars, we can't make them any longer. So we had to do this in order for the harness bar to actually sit in the place it was designed to sit.
So they provide these grab handles, but they don't notch them. So just working through, figuring out approximately where they need to go and how much material needs to be removed and how much of what material needs to be removed to have them match up with the frame.
Truly a DIY, custom fit to suit sort of thing.
Okay, so they provide these threaded inserts, and there's a hole in the back. So we spot weld or plug weld it on the back side and then weld the bung in on the other side. And again, at the moment, this is just a tack, not a final weld.
Tell us what you're doing.
Tightening a screw. So these will be the windshield brackets, and they're designed to have some play and some flexibility in them. But the factory bolts are these fun Torx head things. I just kind of want to get them into place and snug so that we can use them to locate and square up the bungs in the cage. Because we have this bung here.
Actually, it's right. Yeah.
This bung here that goes in this hole that will then meet with this bracket to hold the windshield in place. But I want to make sure we get these square to these brackets. So I want these brackets in place and just snug down on the windshield.
They're very different brackets than what are shown in the provided instructions, but they're still going to work.
Another instance of the instructions do not match materials received.
Or just weren't updated with product redesigns.
Okay, so these are just snug, so they can still be moved if we need to. Put the bung in the bung hole. And then stand the windshield back. You can see that this one is just a little ways too far in. This is why they're only just snug. So, there are these pieces inside the rocker here that are supported. The piece that comes in right here has an angle to it, and that angle is such that it's just inside, it's actually like right here, inside the bolt hole, which means this would have to go through that angled piece, which has been very hard to drill, as well as needing to be at an angle on the inside to tighten it down. So we're probably going to end up just kind of putting a dummy bolt head or something on this one, although I hate to do that because this is the Rock Slider. That one's going to be a problem. We want to punch holes though for these two that come through to the interior of the vehicle. And just start it with a center punch. Using the existing holes as a guide.
Hard piece of steel.
Yeah, I am making headway, but yes, it's a big, heavy piece, and we're at a really bad angle. Okay, so the GenRight instructions say to, once you've got the cage all tacked into place, before you remove it from the vehicle for final welding, put the doors back on and check for any interference. We're fine here, lots of space between the door and the cage. Coming up here to the front, we've actually got plenty of space for the soft top surround as well in here. Now, we are seeing that the inside of the door panel and this are coming up and are... Your arm is in the way, dear. I can't close the door.
There you go.
There you go. So as you come up and we close the door, right about there we make contact, and then when we close the door the rest of the way in, we can see that the door is compressing just a little bit. So we do have contact between the stanchion and this door panel. At this point, it's likely too late to do anything meaningful to fix that without having to like completely cut this stanchion loose and try to smooth it inward. And honestly, at that point, we start to have a problem with the tube being outside the top of the stanchion, which we don't want. So I think we're going to say that that is good enough.
Let's remind them the one really cool thing GenRight thought about, though, with these doors. The catch.
Oh, so we do see that they left for the little trailer here. They did leave a notch down here so that you can get into where that lanyard goes.
Starting day 3, I think. Yeah, 3. And look who's back from Moab! Hello, Roy.
Hello. So one of the things we're doing, just to make sure that everything still works, got a nice 40-inch spare and a hole that it may or may not fit into. So what we're doing, since the cage is kind of in place and the spare carrier is there, we're going to do a test fit of the spare just to make sure that we can get it in. And if we can't, then we have to look at other options. Not that way.
Well,
Let's try.
okay, so we need to tilt it back.
Well, we need to come out. Tilt it in because it's going to hit the bar.
And we're in.
And we don't need to get it on the studs, that's detail. But yes, we can get it in.
So Excessive Industries tire carrier and a GenRight cage are compatible, but the GenRight cage has to be slightly modified to accommodate it.
With modifications that...
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Let's
And you
get...
still need to get a replacement bolt.
Yeah, I know. Before I do that, I was going to do a rotation as part of this experience. Now the fun part. I mean, Jordan did this by himself.
Down, down, down. And, okay, down. There you go.
They're learning tricks from you, Jordan.
What can I say? And then take it. So anyway, it did shift. Not terribly, but it did shift.
So at the end of March, we stumbled across almost exactly
If
what
I come
we
straight
wanted.
down, you can see it moved, half a bolt width. Which actually, when we squeeze the
The nice thing is that you use
body
the
back
factory
together,
bolt.
actually might be a good thing.
Yeah.
Actually, let's take the body apart.
You guys can put the lines however you want. So we can come back a little bit. Your way.
That's literally what I was just gonna suggest.
Remember how we did that?
It's on video.
We're going to need to
put it
reverse
by
that
the
process later.
Yeah. And actually over here.
Fortunately, I cannot pretend to be Fred Astaire or Ginger Rogers. The question is, are we going to be able to get it around these tabs, or do we want to cut these tabs?
Or bend them for now.
Need to come
Are
off?
definitely required to come off.
Okay. So yeah, Roy, grab the Makita. Wiggle, wiggle. One elbow. Cut.
Chris, move it. Let me get back.
Cut. Okay. Coming, drop it.
Alright. Good.
Gee, with 6 people, this isn't so bad.
It's amazing how much easier things are like that.
Just enough to.
A little too tall. One click too high.
That was what we needed to get done.
That was that.
And now Penny's back to military mode.
I think that looks better like that.
Does look good.
Yeah, I'll go do pictures like that.
I just have April in it when it's